Welcome to the I Ching Cafe. My name is Belinda Dovston and thank you for joining me for our weekly episode for this week, the 21st of June 2021. Last week we had the Wanderer Hexagram 56 where we were on a new journey. We were outside our comfort zone and we were told not to sweat the small stuff, get hysterical, lose the plot, stay focused and dignified. So on your journey of discovery, perhaps it was actual travel, did you manage to contain yourself and act in a dignified manner despite things changing around you, despite the details not quite working out the way that you had hoped? And as we rounded out the end of the week, Hexagram 30 radiance, the opportunity to see things clearly and work with things in a new way. I'd love to hear how your week went and what that experience was for you. Right, so let's have a look at this week. Our first hexagram for this week, our first thing that the I Ching is asking us to pay attention to is hexagram 57, the gentle. And I find it quite interesting that last week we had 56, the wanderer. This week we have 57, the gentle. What will happen next? And we do have some changing lines. So let's have a look at what that means. The gentle is a doubling of wind. It's wind over wind and represents gentle, persistent progress. One of the best ways that I like to visualize this hexagram is thinking about how a sand dune moves. Grain of sand at a time. The wind comes along and moves each grain one at a time, and you have these shifting sand dunes that inch their way across the landscape as the wind shapes that landscape. I also think of something like the Grand Canyon or any other canyon that you have seen or you've seen on television. And the canyon is created through the incremental, small, persistent efforts of the water to erode it. So this hexagram comes to bring us a lesson on what persistent effort means, what supportive, persevering action is all about. Making small little changes every day, pitching up every day, doing the work every day, that over time accumulates to a lot. It's that idea of if we just show up and do something every single day, we change a habit, we change a lifestyle, we save, whatever it is, if we just do that one thing every single day, the compounded value of that daily action is what creates a massive value down the line. So this week in your business and your personal life, we are being asked to pay attention to being persistent, being persevering, putting in the effort, showing up every day. There's something that we are needing to do every day to deepen our outcomes because we are putting in the effort consistently, persistently every single day. Think about what area of your life you'd like to bring about change, that you'd like to shift forward, and think about how your daily deliberate action, your ritual of your daily focus and attention is going to get you there. Now we have one changing line this week, it's in the 5th position, and this changing line says there's been a difficult start, there's been challenges to start with, but the time has come to change, to renovate the situation, to improve it, to make some changes. This week, we're going to become aware of what we need to do, or perhaps we get the energy to take the action to make the change. With this changing line, what this means is that it talks about 3 days before and 3 days after. So before you make the change, evaluate it from many different angles, and after the change, reflect on whether the change has been achieved, on what has been delivered, on the outcome that has been achieved. It's almost as if we set our intention, we look at it from all different angles, we weigh up the decisions, we make the decision that's in the best interest right there and then. And then after the change has been done, we evaluate our success. We evaluate, have we met the criteria we've set? Now, the thing about these weekly overviews is that it's not so much about the event happening in the week. There will be things that come up that tie to the cycle for the week. We all have bigger cycles at play in our life, bigger macro processes happening. And I find that the weekly hexagram just brings our attention to a particular facet of what we're doing that is needing the attention, that is needing the focus. And so in this week, what we're being asked to pay attention to is, particularly with this changing line, that there is change that now needs to be done. Renovation that needs to be done, improvements that need to be made. The time is right. And it doesn't necessarily mean that that project is all happening in 1 week. It's tying you to a particular focus area for this week on that project, that process, that relationship that moves things forward. So work with that changing line, work with evaluating carefully what you're needing to do, the change that you need to make. This is not a kind of a change where it's drastic and we knee-jerk and we don't think. This is quite a contemplative, reflect on before, take action, reflect after. And then our outcome hexagram, where this changing line is leading us to, is hexagram 18, work on what has been spoiled. So these are very intense focus this week on repair and renovation, on fixing the things that are broken, chaotic, bringing order into the chaos. Hexagram 18, work on what has been spoiled. You've heard me talk about before this idea of the garden, full of weeds, full of disarray, and now we have to sweat in the summer sun to get stuck in there and pull all these weeds out and sort everything out and get everything back to where it should be, creating the order. So this week, what we're being asked to pay attention to is to create that order. And we have a changing line in our first hexagram, which is also speaking about making changes and about renovating the situation through persistent effort. There's something we're needing to tackle and focus this week. Perhaps it's something that you've been avoiding because you don't know how to do it, you don't know where to start, it's overwhelming. There is work to take the chaos and turn it into order. And I would encourage you to sit with a piece of paper, reflect on where are all the parts of your life or your business right now where there is chaos, and particularly chaos that is causing you some pain, okay? And go and work with putting in place the things that will create the order, sorting out the mess, sorting out the old things, throwing things out, cleaning up that garden, getting out all your tools, using every tool that you have to renovate the situation that you are in. Clear it out, sort it out. So lots of work for us this week. This is quite a lot of active work that we have to do, and this is not about everything gets done in one day. If we take a leaf from the book on 57, The Gentle, it's about making effort, persistent effort. And perhaps one of the things we can think about this week is the chaos we find ourselves in whatever area of your life it may be. We all have chaos somewhere. The chaos that has arisen that we now need to fix. Where has that come from? What is the cause of the corruption, right? What is the cause of the chaos that you're experiencing, the problem, the challenge that you're now needing to fix? And why don't we reflect on what could we do differently to not just tidy up the garden, but sort out the source of the problem, the thing that created the chaos in the first place, the primal role, the primal focus, the habit, the life choice, the routine in life that has now degenerated into chaos. And of course, the definition of entropy is all things descend into chaos. And unless we put in effort and we are persistent and diligent like the wind, moving grain of sand at a time, things do tend towards chaos. So good luck with your tools this week. Put them into use, sort out the garden, renovate the house, and I look forward to seeing how that worked for you at our next weekly episode. Please subscribe, like, and share. It'd be great to have you join the channel if you are not yet subscribed. And of course, if you'd like to, you're welcome to join us on the socials. Other than that, make sure you have watched the monthly overview to see how important focus is in the month of June, the little bit that is left. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you soon.